Welcome back, everyone, to another Captain Patriot video. Hope you guys are having a wonderful day today. I'm taking a look at something a little bit different, but still kind of related to the normal stuff I talk about, which is politics and social changes and ideologies and things like that. And this is I'm going to be talking about RuneScape, old school RuneScape, which is near and dear to my heart. I've been playing for well over 10 years, and I still play. And this change just got implemented, and it's just weird. It's just weird and unnecessary. And if you're not familiar with old school RuneScape, it's basically an old server backup of an older version of RuneScape. 2007 is when the server backup originally was from. And since then, it's been modified and it's gotten a lot of good changes to it. And all those changes that have been added to the game have been voted on via polls within the game by the player base who pays for membership. So people who pay for membership can vote on what changes they want to see in the game or don't want to see in the game. And that was the standard, or I guess the requirement for any change that was going to be implemented into the game. However, for this, there was no poll. There was no asking players whether they wanted this or not, because obviously this is going to be tailored to a very fringe minority of people who play the game. And yeah, so let me just read what the update is. It's a makeover update. This week also brings a series of much requested changes and improvements to the makeover interfaces, which should make customizing your character a far more streamlined process. Bunch of gobbledygook doesn't actually mean anything. That's not what the change is. A big part of old school is having the freedom to play the game your way, and that should extend to character creation too. Well, that's not true, because if you had freedom to play the game your way, everyone would be botting. So that's not true at all. We're playing by Jagex's rules. Okay, the game is owned by Jagex. They make the rules. We follow them. Otherwise, you get banned. You get blocked off the game, right? So you're either you get permabanned, or you get a temporary ban, or you get muted if you say something inappropriate. And I'll get into that a little bit more. But that statement alone is having the freedom to play the game your way is bullshit. We're playing it your way, Jagex, not our way, which is totally fine. We agreed to that. However, you guys agreed to give us the changes that we voted on and that we gave you our approval on, not changes that you could just shoehorn in to make the liberals happy. Okay. So that's not true at all. And that should extend to character creation too. We want our players to have the freedom to express themselves in Gillinor just as they would IRL. With this in mind, we've updated the makeover mage interface. Players may now choose between body type A and body type B, which it used to be male and female. There are two genders. I don't know why we have to say body type A and body type B. It's not what they are. It's male and female. Offering the freedom to pick either body type without the restriction of gender labels. That's nonsense. Okay, there is no restriction of gender labels. There's a restriction of biology. Okay, the biology doesn't change just because you change the label from male and female to type A and type B. Nothing has changed. You've changed a label, but nothing else has changed. The biology remains the same. The characters in the game remain the same, male and female, regardless of your delusion on what pronouns you like or whatever. Second point, to give you even more room for self-expression, you can now choose a preferred pronoun for your player character from the following options: he, him, she, her, or they, them, the made-up gender. So now they've added an additional layer to the nonsense to make the liberals happy, because, of course, the small minority of people who are pushing for this, pushing for pronouns, and pushing for other people to use forced language when referring to them, even when they're not in the room, of course, you have to bend over backwards to make those people happy. And this is exactly the reason why they didn't run a poll for this change, is because they knew it wouldn't pass. And you'd have a bunch of angry liberals on Twitter or on X up in arms about this and complaining, and that's bad PR. Yeah, so that's more nonsense, right? More gobbledygook nonsense. So you don't have to select pronouns. However, I did see on Twitter, and I don't have it pulled up right now, but I did see what's really interesting is Mod Ash suggesting the idea that players could be banned by not using other players' pronouns. So now, on top of everything, right, it's not like you can play the game your way, right? This is not in any way, in no way is this related to freedom whatsoever. Okay, this is anti-freedom completely, as the left's ideology has been seen to be, especially recently. In no way is this freedom. In no way am I playing the game my way if you're suggesting that I can be banned off of a game because I use a certain pronoun. Okay, that's nonsense. I don't see how anyone could think otherwise. And this is really interesting too. And so other people have been talking about this. I found a Reddit thread kind of talking about it, but one comment specifically stuck out to me. And it reads, "This is the latest in a long list of diversity and inclusion updates made by Old School RuneScape, a 2007 build of RuneScape akin to WoW Classic. Starting with a standalone Pride event in 2017 that was heavily criticized and brigaded. Since 2020, many elements of the game have had diversity changes. That includes the removal of various NPC dialogue being deemed offensive, quest reworks to allow same-sex relationships, name changes, etc. One of the most recent changes comes from one of the game's random events where your character must kiss a prince or a frog turned into a frog for cosmetic rewards or XP. This is, of course, based on the old German fairy tale. An update in June this year changed the event so that the reward is obtained by patting the frog on the head due to possible offense caused by forcing the game to kiss the frog for a reward. This is wild, okay? Because this is basically saying that Princess and the Frog, like, that movie is now no longer acceptable. It's not appropriate, right? So you can't even look at that movie and say it's okay. They would want to try and censor it and change it so that the princess pats the frog on the head instead, right? If they had control of that IP, that's what they would do. They would change it to fit their narrative and their ideology and screw anything else, screw the IP, screw the original creator, screw whatever it is. Like, and in this case, in RuneScape, screw the player, right? Screw the people who are paying for the game. And when you said, hey, we're going to require a 70% approval by all players in order to get this change implemented, and then you go completely against it for your own personal ideology, it shows that you're not actually dedicated to the player base, right? You're bending to the whims of a small minority who's exceptionally loud and extra retarded. So that's nonsense. And let's see. So one point of criticism comes from the fact that since release in 2013, all game updates have to be polled by the player base and don't enter the game unless hitting 70% approval. I guess previously it was 75%. Yet these updates are put in without player approval, a key foundation of OSRS's creation. As a player since 2006, my biggest concern is that these changes defeat the whole purpose of the game being a classic server. A lot of my enjoyment comes from nostalgia, and to me, these updates take away from that. Yeah, I mean, that's a fair point. It's very true that, when you have stuff like this, it's clear that they're starting to drag the game in the direction it went originally, which is original RuneScape, not old school RuneScape, but the original RuneScape, with things like the evolution of combat that absolutely destroy the game, trade limits, destroying the wilderness in PvP. I mean, the changes they were making were just insane, stupid, retarded decisions because a small minority of the players at the time were saying the same thing. Oh, we don't like the wilderness, and there's stuff in the wilderness we want to do, but we can't do it because we're always getting PK'd. Well, how about you don't suck? How about you get better? Okay. Like, I don't understand this. We have to make everything so soft and fluffy for people nowadays. And this is the result, right? They make changes without your approval when the original agreement, right, between the players and between Jagex was that players would have a say and approve what changes they wanted in the game. That was the agreement. And they're going completely against that and have been going against that for quite some time now. So it's just, for stuff like this, and to be clear, I'm not suggesting that they have a poll for every change. That would be insane, because if there's a bug and they need to, get a bug fix in, they're not going to poll everyone, hey, is it okay if we add this code to fix a bug, right? Or performance updates or things like that. None of that is what we're talking about, okay? This change is shoehorned in to make a certain group of people happy while completely ignoring everyone else within the game. So, I mean, this is just... In other news, all facial hairstyles can now be used on either body type, so you can rock a beard or a mustache whenever you like. So you can have a beard. You can be a bearded lady now if you want. So more circus freaks. Perfect. Additionally, the new makeover interface previously used for hairstyles only has replaced the Thessalia and Ursa's interfaces. You can freely swap between all of them, no matter which shopkeeper you talk to, using the button in the top left corner. Look, this is nonsense, especially if they start saying that they're going to ban players for using the wrong pronouns. I don't know 100% if that's true or not. I've heard rumors that that's being the case. I don't want to say for a fact it is. But I could see Jagex doing that. I could see Jagex banning players or perma-muting players for things like that, which to me is insane because the players are paying to play this game. And like you said, right? Where'd you say it? Where'd you lie? Where'd you guys lie? A big part of old school is having the freedom to play the game your way. Yeah, that's the lie, right? It's just like, and you know, I watched Odablock's video as well on this. He doesn't seem to care. That's totally fine. You don't have to care. I care because it feels like you're just shoehorning in political ideology into a video game where it's not needed and it adds no benefit. And it also wasn't a change that players wanted or voted for. You know, I mean, look, if this is your thing in real life, IRL, go for it. More power to you. Leave me out of it. Don't bring it into games. Don't bring it into, you know, works of art. Don't take an existing intellectual property or an existing game or an existing movie or an existing story and just gender swap or pronoun swap or race swap or whatever thing you think is going to be a good idea because it like affects minorities somehow is just nonsense and it's insane and it doesn't make sense. So this is just another thing in the long list of things that doesn't do anything and it just pisses people off because it shows that you don't actually care about your core player base, that you're bending over backwards to satisfy a small group of a loud minority of people, which is exactly what happened with, you know, all the changes in the original RuneScape, which is why so many players stopped playing. So yeah, I mean, this is to me no different. You know, it's just another example of why Jagex can't be trusted with their own game. It's like they're not even fans of the game. It's sad. It really is sad. It's a fun game. I really love this game, and seeing stuff like this is just like, it's just disappointing. It really is. But anyways, that's all I've got for you guys today. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Take care. Enjoy the rest of your day. Bye-bye.